Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching 2021 Taiwan Creativity Week, Young Creatives Forum. My name is Hao. I'm a creative from Leo Burnett, Taiwan. And today we're having two world-famous creative talents who has created Cannes Lion winning campaign, the Refugee Nation in 2017. We're so happy to have them joining us today and hope we can all learn from their great works and experience. Let's welcome Caro Rebello and Artur Lipori. Okay, hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for the invite. It's an honor to be here and to be part of the 2021 Taiwan Creativity Week, sharing a little bit of our work and hopefully getting some young folks inspired. My name is Caro. I'm a VP Creative Director at McCann. I'm Brazilian and started my career in advertising in Brazil as an art director in 2003 and moved to the US in 2013, where I've been living and working for 8 years and 7 months now.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Artur Lipori. I'm a VP Creative Director at McCann New York. I'm originally from Brazil, where I started my career. And since 2014, I've been working in the United States in agencies like TBWA, Ogilvy, and McCann. Really glad to be here with you. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. It's going to be fun.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you for accepting our invitation. In today's session, we'll be discussing the Refugee Nation campaign and how can we keep doing good campaigns in this industry. So now let us jump to the first session and watch the case film of the Refugee Nation.
Refugee Olympics.
For the first time ever, a refugee team was going to compete in the Olympics. 10 athletes with no national team, no flag, and no anthem to call their own. The whole world was looking at them. Could we turn a team of 10 into a team of millions?
The Olympic refugees have been making a name for themselves, and now they may have a flag.
Essa bandeira aqui é a bandeira dos refugiados. E a inspiração veio das cores do colete salva-vidas.
We partnered with refugees across the globe to design a flag and compose an anthem to represent the athletes.
Black and orange is a symbol of solidarity with all the brave souls that had to cross the sea to look for safety in a new country.
Refugee athletes embraced the national symbols.
Eu também vou levar a bandeira do meu time refugiado.
The crowd got 2 new colors to cheer for, and in one of the most formal and organized events, a new nation broke in, raising a flag for those who were forced to leave their own countries. From Lesbos to Kakuma, refugee camps now shared a symbol of hope.
Bandeira para os refugiados significa muito.
And for the first time ever, a symbolic nation was officially recognized at the One Young World Summit.
Qatar, the Refugee Nation.
The flag made it to the most political Oscars ever.
With refugees everywhere, I'm actually wearing a pin for the Refugee Nation as well.
And was exhibited at MoMA and the Victoria and Albert Museum.
We live in such a visual world now that people will start to recognize the flag with the discussion.
The flag is in the permanent collection of the V&A Museum now because it marks a crucial moment in the contemporary history.
This is really beautiful. The refugee team has their first appearance in 2016's Rio Olympics without a flag. Is this where you started the idea, and how did it happen?
So yeah, in 2016, a few months before the Olympics in Rio, we learned about a refugee team competing for the first time ever in an Olympic event. And we also learned that these 10 refugee athletes would not have a flag, an anthem, and a nation to call their own. So for that reason, these athletes would be competing under the Olympic flag. So at that moment, we realized that we needed to create these national symbols to represent them. And the process was interesting because, you know, like at first we tried to brainstorm, Caro and I trying to brainstorm how this flag would look like. So, and then at some point we thought, wait, what's going on here? this is not right. We don't understand the struggle of being a refugee. We don't understand the pain of not having a place to call home. So we understood at that point that we are not the ones that should create those symbols. So that's when we realized that we needed to partner with refugees to create this nation. So we got in touch with many different refugee artists around the globe, and many of them got excited about joining us in the project. But one answer really stood out, and that answer came from a Syrian refugee artist called Yara Said. She was currently living in Amsterdam, and she said that the colors of the flag should be orange and black, the same colors of the life jackets many refugees had to wear while crossing the sea looking for safety in a new country. And then she added that she had to wear those jackets through her personal journey, fleeing from Syria to Amsterdam. And, like that story really resonated with us. So I told that story so many times, and we still feel the goosebumps every time we talk about this, because it was like the insight about the colors was like so powerful, so meaningful, that we knew she needed to be with us in this project. And after a couple of rounds of collaboration with Yara, we landed on a final design that is super simple and striking, the orange flag with the simple black stripe. And that's basically how this story started. It became much bigger later, but that's the core of the Refugee Nation project.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add one detail, a bit of context around the refugee crisis in that year. In 2015, beginning of 2016, the refugee crisis in Europe, especially with Syrian refugees, reached the major global headlines. And we were facing the biggest number of refugees and displaced people ever migrating around the world. So it was a real issue. And we felt we had to do something for these people. We didn't know exactly what until we stumbled upon the news about the Olympic Games and the refugee team. So just to understand our mindsets during that time, and refugee crisis was all over the news.
Thank you. I think this is a really important context behind the scene. It sounds like that it was not a huge campaign at first. We want to do something, just a flag for the refugees, right? But how and why you want to make it bigger? Because we see that the whole flag has go on a lot of press, and also it actually being used by the refugee in the next Olympic game.
At the very beginning, we thought the Refugee Nation would be just a symbolic nation to represent the 10 athletes competing in the Olympics. So actually, there's a fun fact about this. The original idea was called 17-Day Nation, because we wanted this symbolic nation to last just 17 days, the 17 days of the Olympic Games. But after a few days developing the project, we realized that it could be much more, So we understood that the refugee flag could be a symbol of solidarity to represent millions of displaced people around the world, something much bigger than we previously had thought.
And about how and why we want to make it bigger, right? So to make the impact that we were aiming for, we needed to have the flag recognized, and known as the refugee flag, the same way that the rainbow flag is known as the LGBTQ flag. So, and to do that, we started to spread the symbol around the world, starting in the Olympics. So first, the refugee athletes embraced the flag. Then other athletes and big names in sport embraced the flag too. Then people rooting for the refugee athletes and refugee communities recognized the flag as their official flag during the Olympics. And even the Olympic Games let the flag be displayed in an official game. After that, the biggest museums worldwide wanted to have the flag in their collections. Some of them, like MoMA and V&A, have the flag in their permanent collections right now. The flag also got embraced by world leaders, universities, schools, brands, and we even have now the refugee flag as an official emoji on every Android phone. So we soon realized that, what we created was a much bigger symbol, and the refugee flag ended up becoming this symbol of solidarity with refugees and all displaced people that could get otherwise invisible. So the flag not only gave them two colors, orange and black, but also became a tool to help them be seen and be heard.
I totally agree that the first original idea, the 17 days flag, is kind of like impactful, or like it can grab a lot of like PR attentions, right? But after you change it to a larger scale, I think it starts to be more meaningful. And then the refugee themselves, they started to use this flag, and a lot of like resources and other organizations start to help you and to have this flag to be seen in like more places, more occasions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the next question will be that it seems like you have to find someone to design the flag, and then you find those refugees to reach out to them. And how do you convince others to join and help on this campaign? Because it started by just you two, right? And do you think that we need to take actions more proactively as a creative and gather resources in order to achieve this kind of great works?
So yeah, at the very beginning, when we kind of like solidified the idea, we understood that we needed to, as I explained before, we needed to collaborate with refugees to bring this idea to life. So that's when we reached out to many different refugee artists, and at the same time, many different refugee composers. And we heard from them, and we understood that like Yara Said's answer was amazing, and her insight was really like inspiring. And that's when we realized that she was the one, and she was super excited about the idea as well. And same for Mutazarian, really talented guy who created this beautiful anthem with no lyrics, really to because like music is the language that everybody understands, it's inclusive. So that's a really thoughtful anthem. So that's the basis of like this nation started like that, by reaching out through proactively. Caro and I reached out to these refugees. But like after a few days working on this idea, we realized like how big it could be, and that's when we understood that we needed to actually to have a big team building this nation with us. So we presented the idea to a film production company called Asteroid in Brazil, and a music house called Canja in Brazil, both very, very talented. And I remember we hadn't even finished the presentation to them. And they were like, come on, let's do this. Like we got to do this together. So, and within the agency, we also needed support to help us expand the idea. And in that sense, we were very, very lucky to find very committed, talented creatives. And I'm really grateful that to all the folks that helped us to bring this idea to life. So, and just taking the opportunity to say special thanks to Rodrigo, Belen, and Ricard, who are also like, they worked at the very beginning. They're still working with us in this project. So that's amazing that we found so many talented people to join us.
And yeah, that was truly special. And about the second part of your question about being more proactive, we believe that, when it comes to causes that you care about, we can't wait for the perfect brief to arrive on our desks. So most of the time, this brief needs to be brought in proactively. So the next big idea could probably be sitting in a study somewhere or in a news article right now, just waiting to be explored and brought to life through a big idea. So we just have to search for it. So it's crucial to take action proactively in order to find the great briefs.
I see. Okay. So one more question, may I ask, why do you think this topic, the refugee topic, related to you? And how can we cultivate an open, creative mind connected to the world? Because I totally agree what you said is that we can't wait for the perfect brief to be on our desk. So how can we to take actions more proactively and to know what things else is going on and we can help?
So yeah, about this, specific topic about refugees being related to myself, I feel like, in just a little context again, like in 2016, the more I read the news, the stories about refugees, families being separated, about people swimming across the sea, no food, no water, people risking their lives and sometimes dying, trying to have a better life. The more I felt and I realized how privileged I was to have my family safe. I have a home in a country where I can live free from war, and that I would probably never during my lifetime need to flee to save my own life. My privilege is extended to my job. So we work in this industry that sells what's in people's pockets, what they eat, what they dress, how they spend their time, how they spend their money, how they connect with people, and so on. So we use our creativity every day to help brands be relevant in people's lives. So why not create ideas that could also positively impact the world, or can make people's lives better, or can help create awareness around the most important world issues. So I always say that creativity is our superpower, and the way we choose to use our superpower makes all the difference. So for me, this project happened as a mission, and it sparkled in me what I consider today my purpose in advertising, which is to use creativity to help people, help the world, and make our lives better somehow.
Okay, thank you, Caro. Thank you, Artur. I think I totally agree. Yeah, sorry.
No, sorry. No, just because there's just if it's okay, I'd like to add one thing about, I totally agree with what Caro just said, and it resonates with me. That was really the sparkle of, as a team, we understood, oh my God, this feels good. This is the right thing to do. We had some other projects in the past that were kind of created to do good, but that was the one that really got lots of attention, and that's when we kind of started to shift more towards the do good, kind of type of work. And but to your question about how can we cultivate an open, because this is part of the question, right? How
Yes.
can we cultivate an open creative mind connected to the world? So I'd say that a good way to start is by staying informed, because the main problems of the world are already in the news every day. So in a sense, the best briefs are there. You just need to learn about them. They're waiting for you to tackle them, in a sense. So the next idea, as Caro said, could be sitting in this news article or scientific study that you read this morning. So that could be the insight of the next big thing that you create. And in addition, I'd say that pay attention to the people around you. Try to understand what they need, what makes their lives better, happier, and more accessible. So that will give you lots of insights. So to summarize, I'd say stay informed, stay curious, and personally, that's how I feel, and I think that you can prepare your mind to come up with creative solutions to global issues.
Yes, thank you. I totally agree and feel the same way, that if we pay more attention on different topics and things happening around the world, there's always a chance for us to do more and to make differences to the world. So I think this is really related to our next topic, like doing good works. So let us jump to the next session. Look into your works. We found out there's always a purpose, doing good behind all these works. Is this kind of mindset, doing something good to the world or to people you cared, really important to you as being advertisers or creatives?
Yeah, I think it's important to have, this mindset of doing good in everything we do. I think whenever we have the chance to. So I know the industry is not perfect, and not every time you'll be able to sell an idea that also does good. But little by little, brands are positioning themselves more and standing for causes that, you know, people care about and the world cares about. So we can, you know, there's this opportunity there that it's rising. And there's one more thing that, you know, we can also be the catalysts of change. Creatives can be the catalysts of change as well. So we can push for ideas that have a true impact on people's lives and work to bring this mindset of doing good to every brief whenever it's possible. I think it's in our hands too, not waiting to have that perfect brief on your desk. So it's, you know, it's up to us as well to choose what we present and what kind of ideas we push for.
Exactly. And so, you know, like just to jump on what Caro was just saying, like as creatives, we as a team believe that, you know, like we have this crucial role of looking at the big picture and, you know, and trying to understand opportunities where the brands you serve could potentially do good for the world. So it's part of our job as well, understanding that. And, you know, so because there are so many, if you think there are so many things to be tackled, right? Like climate change, gender inequality, refugee crisis, LGBTQ plus acceptance still in many places in the world, hunger, like even like few things that relate more like to the near future, like genetic engineering. There's so many subjects. So there might be something new and the brand you work for can do to tackle at least one of these issues, right? So maybe if you won't be able to do that on every single brief you work on, that's okay. But like trying to infuse these big issues as much as possible in your projects is already a big win, not just for you, but like for our industry and for the society in general.